Alright guys, Revolve Wrestler here, and I know it's been quite some time since I've put a video on the channel, but today I thought I would do a video to review NXT Takeover 36. I do want to say a few things before I talk about that and why I'm actually going to review the show. Firstly, I'm currently uploading on my blog again, trying to keep that going. It's gaming during lockdown.blogspot.com if anyone wants to check it out. I recently put reviews up for Hitman 3, for The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, and for Alpha Protocol, which is an Obsidian RPG. I'm in the process of writing up a Max Payne review and going through Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so I've got some new reviews coming up. Please check out the blog. Your support would be... I'd be grateful for any support. Second thing I want to talk about is obviously the CM Punk return on AEW Rampage the other day. One of the best wrestling moments of the last 25 years, or at least is my experience of being a wrestling fan, so probably 18 years. Really cool moment for Punk in his hometown. He looked like a man who had passion for the industry again. And I think Jim Cornette said it even on his podcast, where he said, I had an idea of what it would be, but even my idea wasn't as good as what they did. They just gave him a microphone, they told him he could say what he wanted, and he said exactly what he wanted. He didn't take loads of digs at WWE, he didn't keep going on about them. Apparently that's going to be a story he's going to unravel over time. But yeah, it was a special moment, and AEW is knocking everything out of the park at the minute. They've got long-term booking, they're building new stars like MJF and Darby and Jungle Boy. Everything for them, for me at the minute, is going superbly well. They've got All Out next month, you know. Not the biggest fan of Christian Cage being in the world title match, but you can't have everything you want. Let me just put that on silent, folks. But no, obviously today I'm here to review NXT Takeover 36. Now I will try and do a review of SummerSlam later today, because obviously now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. NXT is just finished, so I'm trying to get the review up now. And the reason I decided to do a review of this show was I was about halfway through the show, and I just decided, you know what, I think I should probably review a show on my channel, this show specifically. And we'll get to why as we go through the show. One thing I want to say as well is I think this show's been quite well built. 5 matches on an NXT show is perfect in my eyes. The 2-day thing that they did for Stand and Deliver, really just to mirror WrestleMania. For me, I wouldn't do it for every takeover. I would maybe do it once a year, maybe once every few years, to be honest. Obviously it's late, so my throat is a bit sore and I'm a bit tired, so just keep that in mind, guys. But no, NXT Takeover 36 took place tonight on August the... whatever the date is today. August the 20... No, it would be Sunday the 22nd of August. And the opening match was LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes, and it was for the $1 Million Championship, and if LA Knight won, then Ted DiBiase would become his butler. This story, for the last 3 or 4 months that it's been going on in NXT, has been really, really great. LA Knight has played his role as a dastardly bastard heel. Cameron Grimes has played his role as the babyface, the bad guy that turns good, to be honest. And Ted DiBiase has been one of the most useful Hall of Famers they've brought in a long time. He's been treated with respect. His lineage has been treated with respect. His belt has been treated with respect, even though it's like a made-up belt, really. But no, this story's done really, really well. And as far as built matches towards this show, this has got some of the longest term build. So the actual match, I thought, was very good. LA Knight missed a moonsault early on, and that allowed Cameron Grimes to take over. Cameron Grimes did an assist... Well, Ted DiBiase assisted him with an Irish whip on the outside, and he drop-kicked LA Knight off the barricade. Then LA Knight started to take over. Took over with some suplexes and things like that. Cameron Grimes kept going for the $1 Million Dream, trying to pay homage to his hero Ted DiBiase, but LA Knight kept fighting out of it, hitting stuff. He kept going for the blunt force trauma, the BFT, which is the headlock driver, which is not what it used to be when he was Eli Drake. But in the end, LA Knight was super kicked out of the ring, I believe. Super kicked out of the ring after he took the $1 million title in the ring. He was super kicked out of the ring. The referee was dealing with the $1 million title. So Ted DiBiase punched him and he fell over, and then the referee gave Ted DiBiase the belt. He threw it back into Cameron Grimes to distract the referee again, and he put LA Knight in the $1 million dream, rolled him in the ring. Cameron Grimes hit him with a cave-in, one of the best looking finishers in WWE. And 1, 2, 3, Cameron Grimes is the new $1 million champion, and Ted DiBiase is not a butler for LA Knight. Thought it was a very good match, probably the best performance LA Knight has had in NXT. I've never been a massive fan of Eli Drake. I always thought his character was kind of what got him over, not his in-ring ability. But this was a very good showing for both of them, and Cameron Grimes, or Trevor Lee, as he used to be called, is an excellent worker. So kudos to these two. They had a very, very good opener, very fast-paced. Sorry, I can't remember a lot of it. That's just how things work when you've watched a 3-hour show and you just go straight into a review. But I'm going to say 3 3/4 stars. It was a very good little opener. Had a good pace to it. As I said, probably the best match LA Knight's had in NXT. So 3 3/4 stars. Very good. And do you know what? The thing is, you had a heel and you had a babyface. This is the thing NXT always does really, really well. You have a heel, you have a babyface, you have a long-term storyline. The heel gets one over on the babyface, beat him in the ladder match, beat him in the match after it. And then he put the massive stip on the line, which was Ted DiBiase will be my butler if I win. He didn't win. Ted DiBiase got some... LA Knight got his comeuppance. Ted DiBiase got some payback. Cameron Grimes won the belt. Perfect story, perfect conclusion. No complaints, really. 3 3/4 stars. Very good opener. Second match on the show was Raquel Gonzalez against Dakota Kai. Again, this is actually another thing that I think has been built very well. Dakota Kai has sneakily kind of been staring at Raquel, and you could see this kind of implosion coming all the way back from when Raquel pinned Io back at War Games in December. So you could see this implosion coming. I think they've done it quite well. I do think they've rushed it a little bit. I think you could have elongated it a little bit more to the point where Raquel had beaten everyone in the division. I know she's beaten Xia Li, Mercedes Martinez, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and obviously Io Shirai. But, you know, there's Zoe Stark there, there's Saray. Obviously, you don't want to beat all the baby faces, but I kind of felt like she would, and then Dakota Kai would kind of turn on her. But turn on her she did, and we got this match here between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I thought this was pretty good, not quite as good as the opener. Real fire from Dakota Kai, and you know, with her new look, her new heel pink hair. You know, she actually caught Raquel Gonzalez quite early on with the Helluva kick, the kick in the corner, and knocked her out of the ring. And obviously then she had to like get her dead weight back in the ring. That was kind of cool. But it was all about Raquel kind of fighting off, you know, she hit a big power bomb on Dakota Kai. She did a big alley-oop bomb where she like hoisted her up for power bomb and then lobbed her into the ropes, and then Dakota Kai just flung over the ropes onto the ramp. That didn't look brill. I think she hit a bunch of like the pump kicks to Raquel Gonzalez, but she kept getting up. Raquel Gonzalez kept going for the one-handed power bomb, couldn't get it. In the end, Dakota Kai she hit a pump kick. Raquel Gonzalez was on the top rope. She went for the running pump kick all the way around the ring. Raquel caught her, hoisted her up, hit her with a one-handed powerbomb from the top rope and pinned her. Raquel Gonzalez beats Dakota Kai. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It was very good women's match. Probably the weakest thing on the show, really, but I thought it was very good. You know, no real complaints. The right person really won. Dakota Kai, I wish it had got a little bit more time. It only went about 12 minutes. So, you know, you probably could have given it a little bit more time, but I digress. Pretty good little matchup. And after the matchup was probably the biggest talking point, I guess. Kaylee Ray showed up. So, basically, NXT UK is now just a feeding ground for NXT. So, you got, like, Pete Dunne who came over, and now you've got Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm. So Kaylee Ray's come over. She, I imagine, will be the next challenger for Raquel, which is fine. I do think Raquel kind of just went from being heel when she won the belt, heel when she faced Ember Moon. Now she's a babyface because she faces Dakota Khan. So Kaylee Ray's another good heel to kind of put her against. Is it time for her to lose the belt? Maybe. 4 months, 5 months, 6, 7 months is where she'll be for the next pay-per-view. So maybe it's time for her to drop the belt. But I guess we'll see. I'm not too. I think if she lost the belt, it wouldn't be the end of the world because they're gonna take her to the main roster because she's tall. Third match on the show, NXT United Kingdom Championship match. Walter, the best wrestler in the world, against Ilya Dragunov. Now their match last year in October was one of the best matches I would say in WWE's history, easily in NXT history. It was beautiful and violent and brutal and didn't drag at all, and there were some slaps and stuff that were a bit hard, but didn't drag, felt like a proper brutal battle, and in the end the right man won that day. He won, and he won decisively because he hit him with like 4 moves and just choked him out. And we get the rematch here. Now Walter matches are my favourite thing in WWE currently. They're my favourite thing to look forward to. They feel like events. And that's, he's had 870 days of his title reign. This was the 870th day of it. And they feel like events. The Tyler Bate match, the Pete Dunne match where he won the belt, the A-Kid match, the Dragunov match, and now this match here felt like, honestly, the pinnacle or the climax of that. And we'll get to why in a little bit. This was all about Dragunov's heart and his desire to win that title. Ilya Dragunov had one of the best performances, I would say, in NXT history. The beginning part of the matchup was all about Dragunov knowing Walter because he's fought him before. So it was just headlock taking over him and arm dragging him and just keeping Walter grounded, stopping him from getting off those strikes, stopping him from getting off those chops. And then he went up to the top rope, and Walter just slapped him off the top rope. Dragunov fell to the floor, and then he powerbombed Dragunov on the apron, on a diagonal as well. And from there it was kind of more similar to the match they had last year, where it was not quite so, last year it felt like it was about 80% Walter, 20% Dragunov. This year it was probably about 60-40 for Walter to Dragunov. But yeah, Walter took him down, shin lock, all the stomps, all the slaps, beautiful stuff, just great professional wrestling from two brilliant guys that would never get this chance or this platform if they weren't in WWE. I'm so grateful this match was on this takeover. I'm so grateful that this wasn't just on another NXT UK episode. No offense to the show, but not that many people are going to get their eyes on that. Everyone needed to get their eyes on this match because it was beautiful and breathtaking. So what happened was Walter killed Dragunov forever. Dragunov got a few bits in. Walter suplexes, takes down Dragunov, takes him down. Dragunov gives him a back body drop, gives him a pump handle slam. Dragunov gets sleeper suplexed by Walter, but his adrenaline keeps him up. He hits Torpedo Moscow to the back of Walter's head. Walter kicks out. He then hits it to the front of Walter, and he kicks out. Walter then somehow powerbombs Dragunov. Powerbombs him. He kicks out. Picks him up. He lariats him. He kicks out. Powerbombs him again. Goes up top. Hits the big splash. He kicks out. Locks in the clutch. He locks in the clutch. But Dragunov refuses to give up. Refuses to give up. And Dragunov is doing all these lariats. He does these massive lariats to the front of Walter. Massive lariats to the back of Walter. And after getting out of that sleeper hold, Dragunov gets behind Walter, locks in the sleeper hold of his own. Walter does everything to fight out of this sleeper hold. He goes up to the top rope, jumps backwards, Dragunov holds on. He stands up with Dragunov on his back, jumps backwards, Dragunov holds on. He rolls through on the floor, Dragunov holds on. He escapes the hold, Dragunov elbows to the back of Walter's head, lariat to the back of Walter's head. He locks him in the sleeper hold. He stands up with him in the sleeper hold, and Walter taps out. You have no idea how quiet I was when I saw this. I was absolutely stunned at this finish. It was one of the best finishes I have ever seen to any match in the history of professional wrestling that I have ever watched. It was perfect. Walter was beaten, and here's the thing, like, should he have submitted? Oh my god. Like, I would never have said before this matchup that Walter should submit when he loses the title, but my god, like, the way Ilya Dragunov just absolutely fought, his heart was on the line. He was dedicated to winning this belt for his little boy so he could show him his title when he woke up. He fought and fought and fought, and he made Walter tap. And as Walter drops, Dragunov sheds a tear, and you can see the scars on his chest, the blood coming down from his face, from the bruise he suffered on NXT this week, or the cut he suffered on NXT this week that was stitched up. You could see the sheer joy and happiness as that man shed a tear. Absolutely unbelievable finish to a match. I've very rarely seen a better finish to a match than that. Unbelievably well booked, unbelievable match. I think I preferred their match better last year, the one in October that I would give 5 stars to. That match was unbelievable. It was more brutal maybe than this one because Dragunov just got destroyed. This match here was more about the end of Walter's reign. And oh my god, it was still beautiful. It's still 5 stars. It's an absolute classic. You need to go out your way to watch it. It was fucking brilliant. Dragunov didn't just beat Walter. He made him tap out. Dragunov got put over so strongly here. The strongest anyone has ever been put over in NXT, arguably, by making Walter, the ring general, tap out in seconds as well. Like, unbelievable. Unbelievable finish. Unbelievable match. 5 stars. Best match of the night, easily. Best match of SummerSlam weekend. I don't even need to... I've seen SummerSlam, but I don't need to review it for you to know that it was the best match of SummerSlam weekend. Easily. So happy for Ilya Dragunov. So happy for Walter. They had an unbelievable match. And after that, we had the 4th match on the show, which was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, 2 out of 3 falls, or 3 stages to hell, basically. The first match was a straight-up wrestling match. The second match was a street fight, and the third match was a steel cage match. So their unsanctioned match that they had at Stand and Deliver, Night 2, I liked quite a lot, but it did go very long. Like, really long, like 40 minutes, and it just dragged on a bit. This match here, you know, I liked it quite a lot. I thought it was great, definitely. You know, I should probably talk about the match first. You know, the first fall was really quick. The first fall came in about 4 or 5 minutes, where Cole hit O'Reilly with a super kick. He went for the Panama Sunrise, but O'Reilly sat down, got him in a jackknife cover, 1, 2, 3. So O'Reilly won the straight-up wrestling match just like he thought it would. And the middle fall, the street fight fall, was probably the longest fall. So they brought in kendo sticks. O'Reilly hurt his ribs on the top rope. So Cole was working over his ribs with a kendo stick and chairs. There was a moment where Adam Cole pulled his knee pad down. This was a really cool moment. Pulled his knee pad down to do the last shot. He bounced off the ropes. He saw that O'Reilly put his hands behind his head. So he just picked up a kendo stick and just whacked him in his ribs. I thought that was a really good spot. They both went out onto the ramp. O'Reilly shoved Cole off the ramp into the boards and all the like barricades and stuff. They went back in the ring. They put like some structures up. They actually teased doing the brainbuster on the steps on the outside and suplex and stuff on the outside as well. That never materialised though. And they did a spot where Cole had the 2 chairs. O'Reilly hit Ushika-Roshi on Cole as well, stealing his moves. They did. So they put 2 chairs next to each other with the backs against each other like that. He went for O'Reilly went up top while Cole was like leaning on them, and Cole just threw him off the top into both the chairs, hit a last shot to the back of the head, 1, 2, 3. It's 1 apiece. Cole won the street fight fall, so it's 1 apiece. So the cage was being lowered, and while it's being lowered, which does take some time, which does annoy me a little bit, you know, it just wastes a bit of time. I thought that about all the steel cage matches I've seen. They've been in a 2 out of 3 falls, which I think it's probably happened twice. Yeah, because it happened for Gargano and Cole, and then for Austin and Triple H. But no, while the cage is being lowered, Cole's just attacking O'Reilly, attacking his ribs. And then, you know, the final 4 was inside the steel cage. I didn't think the steel cage was really necessary, unfortunately. It didn't really add to the match. They used it a few times. Cole sent him into the cage. O'Reilly slingshotted him into the cage. And then Cole took control, basically. He destroyed him with super kicks, and then he was going to climb out the cage. This was the only time anyone tried to climb out the cage. He turned around, he was bouncing on the top rope, he hit a Panama Sunrise on O'Reilly. O'Reilly kicked out, and then he got handcuffs. He handcuffed O'Reilly to the ropes. He super kicked him. He went to do it again. He was basically chatting shit to him. He super kicked him again. He went for a 3rd one, I think, and then O'Reilly caught him because he'd fallen through the ropes. He caught his leg, locked him in a knee bar, and Cole pretty much immediately tapped out, which means that Kyle O'Reilly wins the 2 out of 3 falls match 2-1. So some people are quite down on the finish. I like it because it's good comeuppance for Cole. You know, he was being cocky, he was mocking O'Reilly, so it makes sense for him to be embarrassed by a man who had his arm handcuffed, you know. At the same time, it is like a high caliber athlete being beaten by a one-armed man, and none of them really tried to escape except for that one time that Cole did, and then he just turned around. So, you know, the match wrestling-wise is probably a little bit higher than what I'm going to give it, but I'd probably give it 4.25 stars. I thought it was a very high match, great match really, with some great psychology, some really good moments, and some very, very good technical wrestling. But finish 50-50 soured me, and then, you know, the cage wasn't really necessary. So, a great match, but part of it wasn't really, maybe overindulgent is probably the best word. And I also followed Volta and Dragunov, which was like, you just couldn't follow it, basically. And then the fight for the finale, the main event, was Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe. Oh, so I should talk about Adam Cole. So Adam Cole lost by submission in a fairly embarrassing manner. Does that mean he's leaving or going to the main roster? I think they said that he got a contract extension just past SummerSlam. So, just to cover SummerSlam weekend. So, you know, if he does go to AEW, it's where his wife is. He also locked in the Lockjaw at one point, by the way. He locked in Lockjaw, which is obviously Britt Baker's finish. So, yeah, I totally forgot about that. You know, if he does go to AEW, good on him. I'm sure he can join the Elite and you know, do something there. But, yeah, I quite like him to stay in WWE, to be honest. I think there's more room for him in WWE. Even though a guy of his size is probably going to get squished on the main roster. And he's too good to do that. So if that is the case, then he should leave. But anyway, the main event, Karrion Kross, the champion, the NXT champion, without Scarlett. Again, I'll talk about Karrion Kross quickly. I think his NXT time from debuting has been booked pretty well. Couldn't help his injury. He probably went for the title a bit quick because it didn't really give Keith Lee a chance to hold the belt. He probably went for it too quick. Got injured. Not really his fault. He went away, and it seemed like the promo he cut when he was injured, it seemed like he was going to come back as a babyface. He didn't. Came back as a heel. Beat Finn Balor for the belt in a pretty good match, I thought. And he's had a fairly good reign. You know, he had that 5-way match at In Your House where, you know, he just killed everyone, basically. It was all about Karrion Kross, basically. And, you know, he's all right. I think in the ring, he's all right. It's the gimmick that's fascinating and interesting. Kind of like The Fiend, who, oh god, I'll have to talk about all WWE's releases at some point. Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, they're all going to AEW apparently. But no, going to Raw, losing to Jeff Hardy in his first night as NXT champion, who'd never lost. Losing to Keith Lee 2 weeks later. Bad, really bad. Like, probably one of the worst booked NXT guys ever on the main roster. Like, Nakamura wasn't treated brilliantly. Bobby Roode wasn't treated brilliantly. But none of them lost their first match in 2 minutes. So, yeah, dreadful. In NXT, they've done well for him. Joe, returning to NXT. I wish they'd done the, like, Joe being the special kind of GM, kind of the GM enforcer. I wish they'd done that a few months longer, just to kind of build it a bit more to Kross and Joe getting their match. Maybe they could have done it at the next pay-per-view. Maybe Kross could have done the Gargano match at this pay-per-view with Joe as the ref, and then he could have choked Joe out then. That would have been, you know, the thing with NXT is sometimes they don't really do long-term booking. They just like to do, as I said with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, not building it. Well, I think they've built the feud, but they could have built to their match a bit longer. But yeah, you know, I think they could have built this Joe Karrion Kross match a bit more, but I still thought it was built quite well. The actual match was probably the weakest match on the show. You know, I said I'm not a massive fan of Kross's in-ring. I think him selling's not great because it takes away from the mystique of the character. No Scarlett. I don't know. I think Scarlett helps the package. It's a better package deal with Scarlett. Joe looked a bit tired, a bit out of breath, and it wasn't a massively long match. It was about 13, 14 minutes. You know, at the beginning, Joe was in control, but then Kross gave him a forearm and knocked him out of the ring. Kind of similar to the Dakota Kai match. And he then took control. Doomsday to Saito. He went keep going for Doomsday Saito. He kept going for obviously the Kross jacket. Did a few forearms. Joe did a senton to the front of Kross, senton to the back of Kross. Did the slap combination, the enziguri in the corner. Hit a Uranagi. You know, kind of all the Joe stuff, but it just didn't have a great flow to it or a great pace to it. And I love Samoa Joe, and you know I like Karrion Kross, so I thought this would be better. It just felt a little bit anticlimactic. The finish was good though. The finish was Joe went for a hip attack in the corner. Kross moved, got the knee up, went up top. Joe caught him with an enziguri. Joe hit him with a muscle buster, which he hasn't done in about 5 years, 6 years. Well, obviously he injured Tyson Kidd with it 5-6 years ago, and I don't know if he's done it since. So maybe he beat Finn Balor with it. Yeah, he beat Finn Balor with it in Laurel, Massachusetts, and he beat him in the cage match. So, and I think Nakamura might have. I think when Joe went to the main roster, I think that's probably when he stopped using the muscle buster. Yeah, because he beat Nakamura with it in Toronto. Yeah, Takeover. But yeah, he hit him with a muscle buster, which we haven't seen for about 5 years, and pinned him. So Samoa Joe's the new NXT champion. I think Kyle O'Reilly's the perfect guy to go after the NXT belt. Would I have preferred Kross to have kept it? I feel like Kross now, because he's got nothing on the main roster. He hasn't got his NXT title. He hasn't got an unbeaten streak. He's got nothing. I feel like he's probably just going to fall down the cards. I feel a bit sorry for him. I feel like he didn't even get a chance. And I think he was very, very well presented at the beginning in NXT. So, bullshit. That's just what WWE do. They take good talent and they ruin it. The match overall, I'd probably give 3 stars. It was good, but it didn't quite get to like the expected Takeover caliber level, and it was probably the weakest thing on the show. Good finish to the show, though, obviously, with Joe winning with the muscle buster. That kind of sent the fans home happy, because the fans were chanting Hardy at him. They were booing him. Obviously, Joe was the clear favourite. They were chanting bullshit after the Kyle O'Reilly match. I don't know if that's because people didn't like the fact he beat him with a handcuffed hand, or because they thought that obviously Cole was leaving because he lost. Either way, you know, Kyle O'Reilly should have won that match. So, you know, the crowd were alright, I think, for most of the night. They loved the Walter match. There was 2. There's awesome chants in that match, the Dragunov match, and they did like Dragunov winning. So, Yeah, 3 stars to the main event to end the show. Overall, I'm going to give NXT Takeover 36 because they've stopped coming up with clever names now. I'm going to give it probably an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a show worth watching just because of that beautiful UK title match that was the end of an era. It was the end of Walter's era as dominant ring general bastard. Basically Darth Vader, the movie villain, who's... It's like a Bond villain in the end. He's like, you got to fight him in the end and eventually you'll kill him. And here, he just got killed and just got destroyed and devoured by Ilya Dragunov, and it was beautiful to behold. Fantastic, 5 stars, unbelievable match. The O'Reilly Cole match was really great. You know, there's a few things about it I didn't like, but I thought it was really great. And the opening match with Cameron Grimes had the best story, really. It told a really, really good story and ended really nicely. So, and 3 3/4 stars I gave to that. I gave 3.5 to the women, who I thought had a pretty good match. And then the main event saw Samoa Joe break a record and become the first 3-time NXT champion. So, you know, history, great matches, good stuff. Debut from Kaylee Ray. You know, there's stuff going on in NXT. You've got Joe as the champ. You've got... There was no NXT tag titles or North American title or Cruiserweight title on this show, but they did have 4 title matches, which probably shows there are too many belts in NXT now, if there's 7 titles in NXT, just saying. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Raw Wrestler. Like, comment, subscribe for more, and I'll try to get a lot out in this video. Blog, CM Punk, Karrion Kross, debuts, you know, all the fire-ins and stuff like that. I'll try and get a SummerSlam review up. I'm trying to kind of do all this stuff while I've got time off work, because I'm on break. So, you know, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think of being back? Have you seen my blog? Is there any games you'd want me to kind of try out and do a review on? What did you think to Takeover 36? Do we wish they had better names? What did you think to the brilliant UK title match? What did you think to Cameron Grimes going to the moon? What did you think to Samoa Joe, the new NXT champion? And what did you think to the ending of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Wrestler.